And I'm back. Okay, we're gonna watch this thing about the Danny Phantom Killer while I eat.
His story enough to document it, and even then, people were only sharing what he chose to publish online. Not that he's deserving of attention given his heinous crime, but it's worth noting that negligence is a motif that punctuates his entire life. One of the documents he eventually posted online focused on providing information on his early years, in his own words. Born in 1992, Randy was his parents' first child, and 2 years later, they had his brother. He decidedly doesn't go into detail about his parents, neglecting to even name them, which, as we'll glean later, is a subtle sign of his disdain for them, struggling to acknowledge their relevance in his coming to be. His mom had a background in nursing and had been working as a biomedical equipment technician for a general hospital for about half a decade by the time Randy was born. In a very strange coincidence, her name is the exact same name as the mother of Joe Stair, who was not only a student at Columbine, but the founder of the Trenchcoat Mafia, a group which the perpetrators of that particular crime are frequently, and wrongly, thought to be members of. His father, on the other hand, was a store manager for the Wise chain of supermarkets, a fact we'll come back to later due to its relation to the crime Randy eventually committed. Randy recalls that for as long as he can remember, he's always been very shy, crying profusely due to feeling lost and helpless when his parents left him at school, and either looking down or straight up at the ceiling whilst walking into classrooms to avoid making eye contact with anybody. He specifies that this wasn't because he hated people, but because he disliked being noticed. He conjures a memory of a play his class put on in preschool, and during it, he stood in the back of the stage with his back facing the audience, zoning out whilst trying to take his mind off the situation he was in. As time progressed, he discovered himself completely unable to relate to any of his classmates, confused about how they could interact so easily, as if they already knew each other for years. Meanwhile, he sat by himself near the teacher, crying whenever he had a group project. Eventually, he did make some friends, but never got to hang out with them outside of school, being too scared to call them. As a matter of fact, he was hesitant to even call his grandmother, fearing his grandfather would pick up instead. The first sad memory he can remember is when one of the very few friends he had at the time, Michael, had to move away in first grade. He explains that he didn't even know him very well, but it's as if the feelings of being lost and abandoned he experienced when his parents first put him in school resurfaced. Soon, he met another friend, one he credits with making him the person he eventually became. His name was Matthew, and for the first time, Randy felt he shared interests with someone else. Matthew was into football and recording with video cameras, both of which were hobbies of Randy's during elementary school. The two began recording homemade movies and parodies of films they'd watched. Footage from this period, when Randy and Matt were 10 to 12 years old, has been archived and published by Randy.
It is a blizzard out here. It is so cold that you get so hyper and go like... This is a great day for snow. Most likely there's not going to be...
To see Randy just being an innocent kid, having fun in his backyard, is probably one of the darkest facets of this entire story, knowing who this kid would become. For most of his time at school, Matt was Randy's only significant friend, even after he stopped participating in the home videos Randy was becoming increasingly obsessed with. However, their friendship severely slowed down and eventually ended in 9th grade when Matt got a girlfriend, severely limiting their time together. Though Randy specifies that he wasn't romantically in love with Matt, he became angry that the girl was more important to Matt than he was, and once again, he felt abandoned. According to Randy, he had an easier time making friends with his brother's classmates, who were all 2 years younger than him, than his own peers. The only other friend mentioned by Randy in his document is James, whom he met right as his friendship with Matt was dissipating. James was also interested in filmmaking and was responsible for introducing Randy to YouTube and motivating him to make his own content. Ever since he was very little, Randy became acutely aware of how his friends watched cartoons and how cartoons were culturally ingrained in everyone's minds. As he grew up and began trying to idealize what he wished to be, a frequent thought he had was that he wished to be a cartoon character in the way that they were admired and watched by many. Maybe, just maybe, posting to YouTube would give him the kind of attention he was after, so he began posting to the platform. In June of 2008, when he was 16 years old, he created the YouTube account called Pioneers Productions. Randy had actually already been recording videos for 2 years prior under the name of Point2122, but they weren't really formatted in any way. Over the course of 2 years, he transitioned from plainly recording life events like the flood at his grandma's place or him and his friends playing dodgeball to mimicking the kind of content that was successful on YouTube at the time. In one of the earliest Pioneers Productions videos, called Randy on Christmas, Randy can be seen wearing a Fred t-shirt. The very first YouTube channel to get 1 million subs was actually Fred, whose videos consisted of a middle schooler doing very rudimentary sketches with his voice pitched up. Its success is partly due to it being the first channel to capitalize on the kids browsing YouTube at the time, one of which happened to be Randy. Being enamored with the format, his earliest stuff is structured very similarly. Another admitted influence and inspiration generation during this time was angry video game nerd, which was evident given the introduction of extensive curse words in the videos. The videos from this era are pretty uneventful in and of themselves. Randy was just oscillating between conventional skits and mimicking the popular YouTubers he liked. While his online presence was pretty run-of-the-mill for a kid his age, his internal life was changing radically. As he himself put it, "I've been attracted to girls since I was in late 9th or the very start of 10th grade, around 2009. I've never once been into guys, so I'm thankfully not bisexual. That would suck being caught in the middle. 10th grade was when I really grew fond of wearing female clothes. Of course, being in a house with only one brother and a father, I had to start wearing my mom's clothes. It felt so wrong, but I became obsessed with wearing a bra, especially after the Ember phase started in 2010, which obviously was never a phase. Quite often, when I had the house to myself, I'd either A, film a YouTube video, or B, cross-dress. I must have been a master at putting things back exactly how they were, because my mom never once said anything. I just became obsessed with fantasizing about girls in 10th and 11th grade that the hormones were impossible to ignore. I jerked off in class a total of 4 to 6 times. It wasn't easy, but I would keep my hand in my pocket and go to town slowly for sometimes as long as 25 to 40 minutes until, lo and behold, there was success. I remember I did it in my
Why do I
11th grade
always
history
find the
class
most
and
cursed
my
shit
first
to
period
listen
in
to?
Ecology class. I wouldn't recommend that, but when you're horny, you're horny. It was rare, but I even tried on my brother's girlfriend's jean shorts once while on vacation in June 2010. Anyone who's anyone can say, "Oh, Andrew's a fucking pedophile." It's called discovering yourself. It's not a crime. Do I go around stealing girls' clothes to wear? No, I don't. I don't tie them up in my basement either. But words cannot even remotely describe my love for girls. Yet, here I am in a filthy man's body, seen as a dude. I'm one of you, not a male. Every time I'm in a supermarket or in a retail store, I can't take my eyes off the slim teenage girls. I see them and think, why wasn't I born that way? And I break down on the inside. I wanted it, I never got it. I prayed for it, I never got it. I dreamed to have it, but I woke up repeatedly. I was destined to exist in a female's body. And the thing is, I don't want to be with girls. I want to be them. I'll gladly live and die a virgin. I respect girls too much to just use them for sex. People like that disgust me. The thought of screwing a girl disgusts me. Sex is disgusting. I am forever destined to live in isolation until I die.
Definitely wrote that when he was 13.
We'll come back to the puzzling mention of Ember later. The gender dysphoria and episodes of hypersexual behavior were paired with feelings of dread, as whatever positive experiences he still had at school began disintegrating as middle school ended and high school began. By high school, I just stopped trying to make friends. The whole grade knew me, but I was just there. I'd get picked on now and then, like hiding my backpack, my books, stealing my pencils, stealing my book covers, minor stuff. Never got into fights, but I ended up being in front of 2 of them in middle school. Obviously, my YouTube videos gained more respect from my class in 11th or 12th grade, but I was still just there. I have hated people my entire life. I didn't just wake up one day and start hating people. Middle school was when I really started to heat up and envision hurting the people in my class, such as Eric. In 6th to 8th grade, the kid was twice my size. He looked like a 9th or 10th grader. He was the class bully. He'd steal things from my lunch and then give it back because I didn't show any resistance. "This kid doesn't even care, haha," he joked. Since I was never a threat to him, he left me alone most of the time. Fortunately, no one ever physically assaulted me in school. Only time that I ever came close to a physical fight was this black kid, Jordan. Kept making sexual verbal gestures in my computer class, touching my workspace, keyboard, mouse, etc., and eventually caused me to fall out of my chair and onto the hard-tiled floor. I couldn't even speak, I was so enraged. That was in 2009. I was just too much of a wimp to speak my mind and stand up for myself between 9th and 11th grade. There was a lot on my mind in high school, and bullies were at the bottom of the list. You always have weak, stupid shit like that happening every day, but it added to the rage. High school, more than anything, was full of nothing but sex jokes and innuendo to get under your skin. If I had $1 for all of the times I was put on the spot to be made uncomfortable by someone with sex jokes, I'd be rich. I hated high school, yet I miss it a lot. I don't miss the tests, but I miss the bubble we all used to live under. In one of the videos he published later, he elaborated on this topic.
I still got through, middle school and elementary school and all that, but once I got into high school, it just became endurance. That's what it felt like to me. I just did not want to get up and go to that school every day. I wasn't living. I feel like I never, lived. And I didn't want to either. That was the other thing. I thought about suicide in high school. That's when it really started entering my mind, a lot. And I just, started to grow, attached to, darker stuff. The thing that really started to push it was, when I started doing bad on all my tests and got bad grades and had to get tutored and started to prepare for college and having no idea what I wanted to do. And it was in 2010 when I really legit started to think about doing it, because I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to get a job. I didn't want to live on anymore. I just
Despite the internal struggle Randy was suffering from during this time, his online presence continued. As I mentioned, he did begin to curse a lot during videos, but given the popularity of channels like Smosh, Tourette's Guy, and the aforementioned AVGN, during this time it was extremely commonplace. As far as Randy's viewers and friends were concerned, nothing had really changed. In March 2009, his channel was actually commented on by Fred himself. If his passion for producing video content wasn't enough, being recognized by one of the people he idolized at the time, even if just in a meager YouTube comment, definitely gave him the validation he needed to dedicate himself to becoming a full-time content creator. His online presence immediately spread out to other websites, and while we don't have any remains of his activity on sites like MySpace and Justin TV, which is what Twitch used to be called, we do have an archived version of his Twitter from around this time. On it, he exclusively talks about making his videos and following the Dallas Cowboys, one of his longest obsessions, as seen in many videos he recorded in his basement, where the walls are covered in Cowboys memorabilia.
Favorite football team?
The Cowboys.
This clip is from an interview he gave to another small channel in the latter half of 2009. Around the same time, Randy was a part of another channel called Fat Ass, an obviously jackass-inspired stunt and challenge channel. This channel seems to have been preserved in its entirety and is still up on YouTube as of writing this video. 2010 started out with Randy emulating another of his early YouTube influences, Make Me Bad 35, particularly his Mr. Wooden Alligator video, which Randy reproduced almost verbatim, but with a toy horse head on a stick, which he called Mr. Horsehead. After a few attempts at engaging with Make Me Bad 35 by making compilations and edits of his videos, he eventually got his attention. The two then made a collaboration video called Mr. Horsehead Meets Mr. Wooden Alligator, which was edited and posted by Randy.
Well, it isn't my problem that you lost your precious toy. Oh God! I see him! He's on my face!
Due to how big Make Me Bad 35 was on YouTube at the time, despite the abysmal quality of the video itself, within 3 months, the video had over 50,000 views. While not really huge, it wasn't insignificant by any
God, why does this keep on happening? I'll move it to the other
channel
screen.
as small as Randy's. As of November that year,
And
he
it
was on
fucking
his way to
freezes.
7,000 subs. Despite having taken a step toward his ultimate goal of becoming a YouTuber, the many issues present in his personal life continued to flare up. It's at this point that Randy becomes infatuated with Ember McLean. Ember is an antagonist from Danny Phantom, who, after tragically passing away in a fire, comes back as a ghost rock star that uses music to hypnotize people. She's pretty obscure, only appearing in 10 out of the 54 episodes of the show, but regardless, from the very moment Randy saw her as a little kid watching the cartoon, he claims he felt a spiritual connection with her that he couldn't quite explain. Over the years, it slowly faded into the back of his mind as he got carried away with other things, such as his passion for video making. However, it's around 2010 when he's going through a period of low spirits that she violently resurfaces, bringing with her a whole set of interests and passions, albeit things that were not really good for him. The movies he listed as his favorites on his YouTube channel are almost exclusively horror movies, and his music taste also fits the bill for an angsty teenager developing an interest in the media. However, the truth is much more disturbing.
Which you may or may not know what I'm talking about yet. But if you watch my cartoons, I've told you about her before. Like if you look on the poster behind me, those were inspired by Ember McLean, a ghost from a TV show called Danny Phantom. This woman always connected with me. Every time I first saw her, something changed. I grew up with oh my gosh, no, it just something happened. It was like a spark, and it just connected with me. It made me feel warm inside, and it felt very familiar, which was strange. It was like I'd seen her before. At the time, I was like 13. I just grew attached to her. Like anything I ever cartoon, you know, that way. And whenever I was feeling down and depressed, I thought it was like in later high school is when she started to come back into my life. Like, you know, I watched Danny Phantom in middle school, late middle school, early high school, and I kind of crawled away from it. Once the military rolled around is when I started to get, you know, depressed and venture off into this darker area, and this girl was just there all the time when I got into that darker place. And the character's backstory was she died in a house fire, and she made this song called Remember. It's a song that basically sums up her death, and I couldn't stop playing it. It like hypnotized me. It changed me.
After his interest in Ember resurfaced during the 12th grade, it went away almost completely as he graduated high school in 2011. As he mentioned in his diary, despite how much he was suffering during it, he ended up missing high school a lot. Perhaps the only reason his suffering was so noticeable while he was there was the fact that being at school contrasted his negative internal state with other people who weren't going through the same issues he was. At home, there was simply no standard to judge, but he was still dealing with the very same problems, just without showing symptoms. Randy describes graduation as a very positive experience, as it's almost as if missing high school gave him something real to yearn for, consequently sapping the hold his obsession with Ember had over him.
Today is graduation day. Since I've been in the past 13 years, it's like, oh my gosh.
Randy eventually returned this period in 2010, during which his Ember mania was at an all-time high, as the darkest days of his life, and the beginning of freshman year in college in 2011 as the best year of his life overall. Oddly, it's almost like he acknowledges that his fascination with Ember isn't good for him, and it's just a result of uncontrolled negative emotions. He all but says he'd rather live the normal life he got to briefly experience in 2011 before ultimately rationalizing his fixation on Ember as something inevitable that he simply has no chance of stopping. On YouTube, he attempted a few times to recapture the spark from Mr. Horsehead videos, but to no avail. It was clear that the only reason the first video got traction was because of Make Me Bad's appearance in it, so much so that another video on Randy's channel, in which he's apparently interviewing him, was his second most viewed video at 14,000 views. Unfortunately though, I wasn't able to find an archived version of that video. There's not a lot of archived activity dated to 2011, but we do have a video he made in June of that year to celebrate the 3-year anniversary of his channel, wherein he tells his audience about his journey to having 8,000 subscribers. Apparently, his usual sketch content had actually given way to regular vlogging, and we know this not because of an archived snapshot of his channel from this time period, but because Ray William Johnson, of all people, said so. After reacting to a video of a guy being run over by 2 cars, he specifies that this took place in the driveway of Randy's grandpa.
A couple of interesting things about this. One, the kid who originally posted this actually vlogged regularly on YouTube. Usually isn't the case for people who post these videos. But good for him, you know, someone gets hurt in his grandpa's yard, he's like, F it, I'm gonna post this shit on YouTube right next to my vlog.
It's very disturbing to think about how many well-known internet personalities unwittingly became a part of the digital footprint of someone like Randy Stair. As 2011 came to an end, so did the best time of his life. The excitement of having overcome several of his fears regarding entering adult life was wearing off, and Randy started to hear the call of the void once again. On February 13th, Randy wakes up and goes to attend his classes at college just like any regular Monday. As he leaves algebra class and makes his way to his car in the parking lot, he gets a phone call from his mother. She tells him that an acquaintance of his from high school was driving to school that morning. He lost control of the vehicle and was killed in a car crash. This was Randy's reaction, in his own words. It forever left a depressing void in my heart. I barely spoke to the kid, but I knew him. Everyone knew him. Within a few minutes, I was just numb. I sat there in the parking lot in my green Altima and just was in complete shock. Not freaking out, just numb, miles away. I hardly knew the kid, but only being a grade ahead of time really hit me hard. My brother was a wreck since he was in the same grade as him. Knowing his whole life, I would have worked with him at McDonald's had I not quit after the whole day. I remember Tom saw me in Flex, which was an end-of-the-day activity period, and said, "Why'd you quit?" It was my first job, and obviously McDonald's isn't a great setup. But that conversation stuck with me. That may have been the last time I saw him. He was in a history class with me, but that might have been a long. It's a blur. Tom's death was the first of the events that changed me into who I am today. Tom's death sucked the life out of me. I've kind of made it an annual tradition to drive past Tom's crash site every February 13th, and today I did. He wrecked on the final turn that leads to a highway, was coming from a back road. I'll never forget it, and never truly will move on from it. This is probably one of the focal points of his story, since there are many aspects to examine here. For one, after quite some time of being fascinated with dark things, this is the very first instance of being really close to death, and a particularly unusual one at that. Tom was a year younger than him, driving himself to school, exactly like Randy did, when all of a sudden, he died. Part of why this was so impactful for Randy was precisely because he wasn't close to Tom. And because of this, his grief didn't express as intense sorrow, but a kind of numbness. Randy already struggled very strongly with the idea of growing old and becoming like his parents, so when he envisioned his future, the only thing he could see past his 20s was an untimely and abrupt passing, like Tom's. He expresses this in another passage of his diary. I knew in 2012 I'd be dead by 2008. When discussing this time period on video, he elaborated on how he reacted to Tom's passing.
From that point on, I was just fascinated by death. I was always like interested in like learning about the afterlife and what could happen with all this, but I wasn't like a dark kid at that time. I was still like, I was kooky, I was doing my own thing with my YouTube videos. I wasn't miserable. I wasn't upset. I wasn't depressed. I was just like, ugh, you know, I just gotta get through this year, and then I'm gonna take my major classes in college, and everything's gonna be all hunky-dory, and things are gonna be fun and awesome, and it'll lead to new, bigger, and better things and all that happened. In my head. It hit like so close to home. Like no one, I've never dealt with anyone who was a year younger than me dying. Everyone deals with it in their own way, but I just couldn't get it off my mind after that, and I started living the hell out of it. And I had Tom on my Facebook at the time too, so you know I started seeing all the stuff that got posted around the Dallas community on Facebook, and I couldn't get away from it all, and I just kept getting sucked into it all. And I just wanted to know everything about it. I wanted to know what killed him. I wanted to know how fast he was going. I wanted to know if he died at the scene or at the hospital. I wanted to know everything. Was he buried? And it just one thing kept leading to another and another and another. I just wanted all that.
Oh my god, they have machine guns.
Kept going into this, and I liked it. I wasn't afraid of it. I liked it. As the year went on,
Oh my fucking god.
little hole that I dug. I got back on track.
Again, not a lot of content has been specifically dated to 2012, and it's difficult to tell when an archive video is from based on how Randy looks alone. However, he once again celebrated his channel's anniversary in June, which is tail-ended by a montage of the videos he had uploaded in the past year.
So now you gotta open your creaking door again, step on the duck again, and walk back again, and step on the duck again, and close your creaking door again. But oh, you forgot to take your contacts out.
Other than the horse head related videos, his content seemed much better compared to the previous years, at least judging from what we can see in the montage. He was even the subject of yet another interview by a small YouTube channel. Obviously, these standards during that era weren't as high as they are now, but even still, if you showed people some of this stuff and told them that Randy was a mid-sized YouTuber from 2012, they wouldn't really doubt it, especially considering early 2010s were basically angry video game nerd clones and developed sizable audiences doing it. There's a slightly noticeable increase in violent themes, but still nothing to be concerned about. Even with what had happened to Tom earlier that year, he not only managed to behave normally, but actually dedicated some energy to the videos he was uploading. An entry in his diary reflects this. By fall 2012, I was back to myself again and made two of my favorite YouTube videos, A Furby's Calling and Crazy Christmas Maniac. If ever there was a crossroads moment for Randy, it was 2012. Tom's passing was rough on him, but for the time being, he looks like he was heading in the right direction, focusing on his videos while going through college without relapsing into his ember of rage. Things looked good, but odds are you already know how the story ends, so you know this grace period will last.
My god, I hate this area.
The year ended the same way it began, with the death of someone. In his diary, he said that Tom's death sucked the life out of him, but the death of another
What?
friend of his,
I
Matt,
completely
was what
forgot again.
killed him. In his college's video production class, he and Matt were part of a little
Fucking
friend
death
group.
counter.
And though they didn't really do anything outside of work together on projects at school, Randy appreciated his company quite a bit, especially since after leaving high school,
How many
he
times
had very
I
few
died?
friends he
Oh,
was still in
shit.
touch with, let alone people willing to cooperate with him on video
I don't
projects.
know, say
Matt,
like-
along with their mutual friends, even started watching Randy's YouTube content,
That
liked
seems
it,
fair.
and shared it on his social media accounts, which made Randy
Ugh,
very happy. As the
what's
year
the
went
point
by,
of the
they grew
death counter
closer
if I
together.
keep on
Aside
forgetting
that,
about
whatever
it?
social stability Randy had previously found in his life, he was on his way to get there once again. That is, until the holiday break. Within 2 weeks of the break having started.
God. Okay, that's enough. I don't need to run up here. 3. Oh. My sanity. I know there's a site of grace around here. Hey, a lift. Oh, my poor computer, the frames. Dunsky. Oh, yeah. Yeah, what the fuck? That was weird. I mean, it's a pretty common card. It's only $100. Well, right now it's $100. It was like 200 when I got it. Can I go up the ladder? Wrong way. Fake doors. Let's go. Oh my god. Nope, this is a bad idea. Oh. They fucking nerf it so you can't do the 180 with this fucking spell. Every time I try to do it, it does not fucking work. Oh, cool. Oh, let's have some funsies. Let's make it so I can get invaded. Oh, fuck it, Taunter's tongue, why not? I don't know how many people PvP here. I guess I'm going to find out. If you want to try, come get me. Aw. That would've been fun. Oh, I have fire spells equipped this time. God damn it. This thing's gonna kill me. Oh, now I'm being invaded. Oh, there he is. What's up? Oh, of course he's gonna do the fucking frost cheese, dude. Of course. Oh, thank you. Huh. I keep on thinking he's gonna kill me. At least he's nice. He wants to actually have a fight. Yep, no, it's taking forever, I know. Oh. Oh, what? How'd he heal? Oh, I'm dead. Dog, give me a second. Dog. Oh, GG's. Let's do that again. Yeah. Oh my god, where did you come from? Oh. Okay. Oh, there it is. You fell for the classic blunder. Oh, fuck, you got me. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh yeah.
No. I need to do better than this. This will never kill a god. I can do better than this. It needs to slay a bloody god. Oh, it's you. Don't pay me any mind, it's not important. Just lay out your arms.
Greetings. Are you here for spirit tuning?
You've met Garank, I take it. Then owing to our duties shared, we're now comrades in arms. I think you've earned this. The power of the Golden Order to aid the hunt of those who live in death. Are you acquainted with a man named Roger?
Yeah, he's dead in the
You
other
know,
room.
The piteous fellow hiding away on the balcony. He was a formidable spellblade in times past. Don't let his easy air deceive you. He was wise beyond his years, stout of heart and clear of mind. No more, though. You see him now, ravaged by thorns, muttering and rambling, like he's half dead already. I can't stomach to watch. Take well the lesson, friend. That's how you end up when seduced by those who live in death. When grace is sullied, it rots people from the inside, breaks them. I serve the Golden Order, that I might put this crooked land to rights, following only the guidance of the Great Elden Ring. Those who live in death fall outside the principles of the Golden Order. Their mere existence sullies the guidance of gold, tainting its truth. And so it is the vermin must be exterminated, down to the very last.
You. What is it?
There are 4 more demigods yet to be located. Nicola of the Halig Tree, the Unalloyed, his twin, Melania, the undefeated swordswoman, Luna Princess Rani, daughter to Renala, and the one only known as the Lord of Blood. Rani is said to have cast aside her great rune, so here at the Hold, we seek the whereabouts of the remaining 3 shard bearers. If you should learn anything of these matters, I'll trade your findings for a hidden treasure or a long-lost right, known only to me. We both desire to stand before the Elden Ring and become Elden Lord. As such, I hope we are compelled to work together. There are 4 more. Nicola of his twin, Luna Princess.
Now go forth. Let
Look out. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ooh, a rot dragon. Why do I not have Flame Cleanse me? Okay. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Ja, ja.
Buying or selling?
Oh, a pleasure to see you. A pleasure indeed. I am Gari, a great sage. In my day, anyway. I'd hoped to ask a favor when one of your ilk came along. A strapping young tarnished, able to cross the scarlet swamp of Aeonia. Don't fret, I'll provide fine recompense. Should you accept, I will teach you the secret of Celia, the town you see there. Ah, then you are willing to lend a hand, are you? I need your help to heal a certain young girl. Her name is Millicent. You will find her beyond Celia, resting at the church atop the cliff, stricken by the rotting sickness. The rotting sickness that afflicts Millicent has no cure. When the Erd Tree flourished, even the demigods could not stave off its effects, despite their nigh godhood. But Millicent's suffering can be ameliorated. For this, you are to find a certain needle. Seek the deep, scarlet swamp of Aeonia outside Celia's bounds. The needle, made from unalloyed gold, is lost somewhere there. First, you must find its hidden, then I will seek.
Fuck you. Oh no. Don't summon more dicks. Come on. I was supposed to kill him. Whatever. Ah, that's right. Oh no. Oh, I'm dead. Fuck. Whoops. Dragon. Could split Faith and Arcane and just do dragon shit. Do I have dragon eyes now? I do. Need to go slay more dragons. Just save those. let's pop a whole bunch of them. How many levels I can get. Exactly. I think I'll just keep doing what I'm doing right now, and I will respec. My damage is starting to fall off with higher bosses. Like harder bosses. I think I'm gonna call it. Oh, it's kind of early.